Let's head on over to X, man. We're going to jump right into this story. This is a big time story. And it's been reported that multiple WNBA sources tell Front Office Sports the best case scenario for free agency will be early March. And that's if they ink dries on the new CBA by early February. So let's say they have a deal done.
March. That's the earliest we're looking at for WNBA free agency, according to Front Office Sports. And if you think that timeline works, you haven't done the math. Because between early March and May 8th, the scheduled season opener, the league needs to squeeze in free agency, an expansion draft, a lottery, the regular draft on April 19th, and somehow get all 30 teams through training camp starting April 19th. That's not a tight schedule. That's a logistical nightmare waiting to implode.
I believe that they're deal done, but I could be wrong. See, I'm afraid to admit, hey, y'all, I could be wrong. Now, with that being said, the article goes on to say that the WNBA wants everyone to believe the 2026 season will tip off on May the 8th. Now, May the 8th is when the date's supposed to start. Now, I'm here to tell you, if free agency started in March, the season is not going to start May 8th. So that right there tells me ain't no ifs, ands, ain't no buts. The season ain't going to start in May.
Here's what nobody's talking about. The schedule already dropped. Teams know their opponents, arenas are booked, tickets are on sale, but the Players Union has been waiting over a month for a response to their proposal. 30% revenue share, $10 million salary cap, $249,000 supermax. And as of last Friday, radio silence from the league. So we've got this bizarre situation where the WNBA is acting like everything's fine, while the foundation is actively crumbling.
For the 2026 season. Now, as of Friday, right, the Players Union was still waiting on a response from the league to propose to the proposal that they sent over a month ago. Now, multiple sources told Front Office Sport that the proposal the union is seeking a 30% share of the league gross revenue and a salary cap around $10 million, man. Everybody keep reporting. We already know this part, bro. Like, all they doing is copying and pasting the same articles, bro, every couple of days, man. Now, the Supermax will go up to $249.
Training camp. That's the piece everyone keeps glossing over. You can't just throw players together 3 weeks before opening night and expect championship-level basketball. Weight room conditioning, offensive systems, defensive rotations, team chemistry, all of that takes time. The typical timeline has free agency, wrapped by early February specifically, so teams have 2 full months to prepare. Now they're looking at maybe 3 weeks, if they're lucky. And we're supposed to believe the product won't suffer.
May the 8th before embarking on a 4-game road trip. So now I know we made a video yesterday about the Fever and stuff like that being targeted, but to me it looked like a lot of these teams, now no one's playing more back-to-backs, Kayla Clark and the Fever, I just got to be honest there, but the Aces, the Fever, and the Liberty will have road trips. I think they will have road trips just on the strength of them being the most popular teams. Now, the first back-to-back.
Let's walk through what actually has to happen here. Best case scenario, the CBA gets signed by early February. That gives the league exactly 4 weeks to conduct free agency in March. But it's not just free agency. Golden State's expansion draft has to happen. That means every team needs to submit their protected lists. The Valkyries make their selections. Then those players need to relocate and integrate with a brand new franchise. Then you've got the college draft on April 13th, bringing in another wave of rookies. And somehow all of this resolves itself by April 19th, when training camps open.
All the same stuff. All these articles be all the same stuff. Now, what's that? The union is proposing eliminating the destination, but the league has been unresponsive to the suggestion. Multiple sources believe the best case scenario for free agency will be early March. And if that ink dries, the new CBA could be signed by early February, giving the WNBA the rest of the month to plan and conduct an expansion draft in a typical year. Free agency begins in early January, and all major signings are commonly wrapped up by early.
The Vegas Aces open against Phoenix on May 8th. That's the target date the league keeps promoting. But think about what that means for a team that might lose a key player in the expansion draft, sign 2 new free agents in March, and draft a rookie in April. Aja Wilson could be running plays with teammates she's known for less than 3 weeks. Kelsey Plum might be learning a completely revamped offensive system on the fly. That's not professional basketball. That's organized chaos with a television contract.
In free agency, squeeze in expansion draft, squeeze in a lottery, and everybody's going to report back to training camp by April the 19th. That is the plan. That is the plan as of right now, if this deal gets signed by the beginning of February. Now, however, in the middle of free agency, front office will also be preparing for the 2026 WNBA draft, currently scheduled for when April 13th. So not only do they got to do the training camp plus free agency, they also got to get ready for these college young ladies coming out. Do I believe they got enough time?
And here's the part that should terrify every WNBA fan. Both sides keep emphasizing they don't want a lockout. The owners have reportedly said they have no interest in invoking one. The players' union authorized a strike in December, but called it a precautionary measure, so nobody wants to stop the season. Great, but what they're proposing instead might actually be worse, because starting a season with unprepared teams, incomplete rosters, and zero chemistry doesn't just hurt the product, it damages the league's credibility in the most important growth year in WNBA history.
You know, because when you rushing stuff don't ever go right. Stuff don't ever go right. And I feel like this could be leading us to a disastrous start of the season. People not knowing where they're supposed to be. Some of your favorite teams going to end up losing. The chemistry's not there. Everybody's forgetting all of that. You got new players waiting to get acquainted with their current players within 3 weeks. Then you got training camp. Then you got the draft. Then you got more new players coming in. I don't know.
The Indiana Fever are scheduled to play more back-to-back games than any team in the league. Caitlin Clark, who just delivered record-breaking ratings and sold out arenas across the country, is going to be thrown into a gauntlet schedule with teammates who might have been on different rosters a month earlier. The Liberty, the Aces, the Fever, the 3 most popular teams in the league, all face brutal road trips right out of the gate. This isn't a schedule built for competitive balance. It's a schedule built for television revenue, and now they're trying to execute it with a preparation timeline that would make a college intramural league nervous.
Very, very interesting with the WNBA. This whole lockout, but I'm like I stated, I'm worried about free agency. I want to know y'all thoughts down in the comment section right now. Make sure y'all keep them bills on. I will be back with more content, and until next time, man.
So let's be honest about what's really happening here. The WNBA is gambling that they can compress months of essential business into weeks and somehow maintain the quality that drove They're betting that fans won't notice when their favorite team starts 0-6 because the chemistry isn't there. They're hoping casual viewers who tuned in for Caitlin Clark won't be turned off by sloppy basketball that looks nothing like the product they saw last season. This isn't just about logistics. This is about respecting the game and the fans who showed up in record numbers. When you rush everything, free agency, training camp, roster construction, you don't get the same product. You get a watered-down version where teams are still figuring out rotations in June, and playoff seeding gets determined by which franchises happen to have more roster continuity. Think about what this means for the rookies coming in. The 2026 draft class is loaded with talent. These players have been preparing their entire lives for this moment, and instead of joining established systems with veterans who've had months to build chemistry, they're walking into situations where half the roster might be new and the coaching staff is still installing basic plays 2 weeks before opening night. The players' union wants 30% of revenue. The league hasn't responded in over a month. That tells you everything about how these negotiations are actually going. This isn't two sides working toward a compromise. This is a stalemate where both parties are more concerned with leverage than with what's best for the product on the court. And let's talk about the expansion draft for a second. Golden State is paying a massive expansion fee to join this league. They deserve a fair shot at building a competitive roster. But how do you conduct a proper expansion draft when half the league's free agents haven't signed yet? Do you protect players who might leave in free agency? Do you expose veterans who you're planning to re-sign? The whole process becomes a guessing game instead of strategic roster construction. The schedule came out yesterday. Arenas are booked. Television slots are locked in. Sponsors have committed millions based on those dates. So the league has backed itself into a corner where delaying the season would cost them massive amounts of money and credibility. But starting on time with unprepared teams might cost them something even more valuable: the momentum they built last season. Because here's what happens when you start a season with teams that aren't ready. The basketball is bad, fans note it. Casual viewers who tuned in because of the hype last year tune back out. And all that growth, all those record ratings, all that mainstream attention, it evaporates because the product doesn't match the marketing. The Vegas Aces won back-to-back championships because they had continuity, chemistry, and a system that players bought into over time. The Liberty finally broke through because they built a core that understood how to play together in high-pressure situations. The Fever's late-season surge happened because Caitlin Clark and her teammates had months to develop on-court chemistry. You don't replicate that in 3 weeks. So what's the solution here? Delay the season, take the financial hit, give teams the time they need to actually prepare. Start in late May or early June if that's what it takes to maintain the quality of the product. Because the alternative is starting on time with a subpar product and watching all that momentum from 2025 disappear. But that won't happen. The schedule is set, the television contracts are signed. The league will push forward with this compressed timeline and hope that somehow it all works out. And when teams struggle early, when the basketball isn't as crisp as last season, when casual fans start asking why the product looks different, the league will act surprised. This is a crisis of the WNBA's own making. They had months to get a CBA deal done. They knew free agency needed to happen. They knew an expansion draft was coming. They knew teams would need proper training camp, and they scheduled everything anyway, betting that the pressure would force a quick resolution. Instead, they've created a situation where even the best-case scenario results in a compromised product. So here's the question nobody in the league office wants to answer. Is starting on time more important than starting right? Because right now they're choosing the former, and the teams, the players, and the fans are going to pay the price for that decision.